And how's it going, everybody? Welcome to my live WWE Money in the Bank 2017 review. Money in the Bank, of course, was a SmackDown live exclusive pay-per-view that aired last night on the WWE Network. And overall, guys, I thought this was a good, solid pay-per-view from Team Blue. I definitely feel like it was better than Backlash last month, but not by much. But I still felt it was a more enjoyable pay-per-view than Backlash. Of course, you had 5 matches on this card, and the 2 big matches were, of course, the men's and first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match. So without any further ado, let's get right down to the review. So like I said, I thought the pay-per-view overall was a good, solid show. And we kicked the show off with the first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match. This is like what the Lex Man predicted in his predictions video, that this match would kick off the show. So you had Charlotte going up against Becky Lynch, going up against Tamina, going up against Carmella, going up against Natalya. And overall, guys, because I was really excited for this match because, it was the first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match. This was a great opportunity for the women of the SmackDown roster to shine, once again proving why they're superior to Raw's women's division. And it was a good ladder match, but I feel like it didn't get enough time. I think it only went like 12, 13 minutes. And while it was a good 12 and 13 minutes, I was just expecting a little more from it. Because, we wanted the women to go out there and really just, put their bodies on the line in this match. And, of course, we didn't want to see any of them get injured. But overall, it was, it was a good ladder match. But like I said, guys, I feel like it should have gotten a little more time. I feel like it could have been a little better. I'm not saying it was bad, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like it could have been a little better. But you did have some nice spots in this match. Early on in the match, you had Tamina. She was literally in the middle of the ring as everybody was getting a ladder. She was taking over for a little bit as to say, it's her yard. You had this interaction between Becky and Natalya that were fighting over this ladder. And then eventually, Becky just knocked Natalya down with the ladder. So there were some spots. Some of the women did take some bumps in this match, but nothing too serious to the point where they were, severely injured. Towards the end of this match, you had Charlotte hit this nice, like, I guess it was like a moonsault onto Tamina and Natalya on the outside. I don't know how to describe. I think like the best way I can describe it is, because it wasn't a corkscrew moonsault like she's done before, but think how like Alexa Bliss does Twisted Bliss. So that's like the kind of moonsault that, or splash, whatever you want to call it, that Natalya or that Charlotte hit on Natalya and Tamina. Yeah, Carmella tried to climb the ladder, and Becky Lynch stopped her, and she hit her with a powerbomb. And then Becky tried to climb the ladder and reach the briefcase. And right when it looked like she was going to get it, James Ellsworth gets into the ring, and he knocks Becky off the ladder. Ellsworth then is trying to encourage Carmella to get up and climb the ladder. Carmella can't. And then Ellsworth decides to climb the ladder. He reaches the top of the ladder, and he unhooks the women's Money in the Bank briefcase. And the crowd in St. Louis actually popped pretty big for when Ellsworth got the briefcase. And, that's one thing I want to say real quick. I don't want to forget it. The St. Louis crowd last night, they were red hot. Great crowd, so kudos to them. So, yeah, Ellsworth grabs the briefcase. He drops it down to Carmella, and Carmella is awarded the victory, and she is your first ever Miss Money in the Bank. Now, a lot of people on social media shitted on the ending of this match, and I personally didn't like how it ended so abruptly like that, because of course it's a ladder match, and it's the first woman to climb the ladder and retrieve the briefcase wins. Nowhere in the rules did it say that James Ellsworth could climb the ladder and grab the briefcase for Carmella and just hand it to her, and that would declare Carmella the winner. 2 of the referees, one of them was Charles Robinson, were debating with the other referee that, Ellsworth wasn't in the match. I was just hoping, like, I didn't want the match to end that way, and I was saying I hope they restart this match, and it didn't. Carmella was awarded the victory. She is the first ever Miss Money in the Bank. Controversial or not, she is. She will go down as the first ever Miss Money in the Bank. But Daniel Bryan, who's returning this Tuesday night to SmackDown, and Shane McMahon, they took to social media right away, and they said that they will address the controversy surrounding this match first thing on SmackDown Live. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. But I was not a fan of the ending. Yes, I understand that Carmella and Ellsworth are heels. That's what heels do. They do stuff like that. But, you know, I would have just preferred it was a clean win for Carmella. You know, I would, you know, like what they could have done is they could have had Carmella try to climb the ladder. She's tired. She's battered from the match. And then what you could have done was you could have had Ellsworth put her on his shoulders and help her climb the ladder, and then she could have retrieved the briefcase from there. I'd have been fine with that finish. But I just don't like the fact that Ellsworth climbed. Like, I found it funny he climbed the ladder and grabbed the briefcase, because I was thinking maybe he was going to run away with it. And, you know, even though it's the women's Money in the Bank briefcase, I thought he'd run away and try to cash it in on the WWE champion in the future. But just when he gave it to Carmella, I'm like, really? That's how it's going to end? So, like, I was not a fan of the ending. I don't think it takes away from how good the match was. But it's like, you know, going back to that Extreme Rules, that cage match at Extreme Rules last month with, well, not last month, it was a few weeks ago, with the Hardy Boys and Cesaro and Sheamus, where Jeff Hardy got out of the cage and he went back in the cage and he had to climb out again. That just sounded like something Raw would do. Some kind of stupid booking right there. But I'm going to give it a chance because, like my buddy Gene said in his review, it makes you want to watch SmackDown Live, because that's the very first thing Shane and Daniel Bryan are going to address, and you want to see how this is going to play out from here. So Carmella's missed Money in the Bank for now. We'll see how this plays out on SmackDown Live. But good women's ladder match. I was expecting a little more from it, and I wish it got a little more time. But a good match. I'm giving it 3 stars. Good opener. After that, we had the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match, the Usos defending against the New Day. This was a very good match, guys. Very fun, very exciting. I love the chemistry between these two teams. And I'm going to go back to what the Lex Man said in his preview predictions video. The New Day and the Usos are good friends. I mean, the Usos are constantly making appearances on Up, Up, Down, Down, you know, Xavier Woods' YouTube channel. So, I mean, you wouldn't expect anything less from these guys. And it was, like I said, it was a very good match. You know, early on, New Day had the advantage over the Usos. But then the Usos took advantage when Kofi was bouncing off the ropes, and one of the Usos pulled the ropes down, and Kofi just went over, flat out, fell on his back. It was a pretty nasty spill. And then the Usos took over from there. They hit Kofi with a double suplex against the ring post. Once Big E got the tag, he was, you know, hitting the Usos with suplexes, and he drilled Jimmy Uso with STO slam a la Samoa Joe. Big E also hit Jimmy with that spear through the ring apron, which... Okay, Brandon and I have said this before in our reviews. We think Big E needs to stop doing that move, because there's going to be a day, and we don't want to see it happen, but there's going to be a day where he's going to hit that spear the wrong way, and he's going to either severely injure himself or his opponent. But I'm going to give it to him. It looked good the way he did it here. After Kofi got a tag, the Usos hit him with a chop block, and then that super kick to the leg that they took American Alpha out with, you know, a while back. Then they trapped Kofi in the Tequila Sunrise, or the stretch muffler, whatever they call the move now. Kofi managed to get out of it, and then he got one of the Usos, and I don't know which one it was. I know who was who in the match, but I can't really remember who it was. So Kofi had a Dragon Sleeper on one of the Usos. Then the New Day made a blind tag. So one Uso hit the splash, and then, or was going for the splash, and then Big E caught him while he was diving, botched it a little bit, but then drilled him with a big ending. And at the very last second, the other Uso broke that fall up. Then Kofi hit the Usos with a nice-looking trust fall on the outside. And from there, New Day hit Jey Uso with the Midnight Hour, but Jimmy pulled Jey out of the ring. And the Usos just decided to say, fuck it, we don't want it anymore. They grabbed their SmackDown Tag Team Championships and walked out. So New Day was awarded the victory via countout, which was something I did predict. If New Day was going to win, they'd win by DQ or countout. And fans also shitted on the end of this match on social media. I personally didn't have a problem with it, because neither team looks weak. They're both kept strong. And you know this isn't the end between these two. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what happens between the Usos and the New Day going in the Battleground and most likely SummerSlam. So you can keep this feud going for a little bit. So I like it. So I have no problem with the ending. Like I said, very good match. Very fun, very exciting. Great chemistry between these teams. Really like the suspense they created toward the end, where it looked like the New Day were going to win the championships on those 2 separate occasions. But in the end, New Day, they won, but they didn't win the tag team championships. But like I said, I look forward to seeing what they have in store for what's in store for both those teams in the future. But still a very good match, very exciting. Second best match on the card, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with these teams moving forward. Next up was a SmackDown Women's Championship match. Naomi defending against Lana. And this was a good, solid women's match, and I'm going to give it to Lana for her first singles match on television, because she has wrestled singles matches during NXT house shows. I'm going to give it to Lana. She had a good effort in this match. Was it her best performance? No. Because, like I said, it was her first singles match on TV, on pay-per-view nonetheless. But it was a good showing for Lana. You know, she worked on Naomi's legs in the match, which was good. She picked the body part because early on, Naomi went for a roundhouse kick. Lana grabbed her leg and draped it over the ropes. And then she hit her with a couple nice snap suplexes where Naomi's legs were bouncing off the ropes. So Lana did a good job focusing on a certain body part, because if you take away Naomi's legs, she can't use her kicks. She can't do the split-legged moonsault. She's basically going to be on the ground, and you want to keep her on the ground because Naomi's known for her high flying, for the rear view and whatnot. Despite the damage to her legs, Naomi did hit a rear view. Lana did hit her sit-out spine buster, you know, that exploded her into a reverse Falcon Arrow, or sit-out powerbomb, whatever. But Naomi kicked out of it. And then Carmella came out with the Money in the Bank briefcase. And I started thinking, okay, are they really going to have her cash in right now, or is she just going to tease it? And Lana got a little distracted. She went for the sit-out spinebuster again, but Naomi countered with a roll-up and then trapped Lana into the Anaconda Vice, her modified Anaconda Vice, and she made Lana tap out. So Carmella did not cash in Money in the Bank, but she teased it. And that's what a lot of the Money in the Bank winners have done in the past. They come out, they tease, they're going to cash in, but they don't. When Carmella cashes in, it's going to be special. It's gonna feel big. So yeah, no problem there. Good effort from Lana. This match could have really been a stinker. It could have sucked, but good effort from Lana. Looking forward to seeing her wrestle more. And we'll see, again, like I said, what happens with Carmella and this whole Miss Money in the Bank controversy, because, like I said, Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon are going to address this on SmackDown. And it's going to be interesting to see how things go from there. I do want to say this. I don't want to forget this. Because of what happened, because it was James Ellsworth that knocked Becky Lynch off the ladder, I would love to see at Battleground an intergender match between James Ellsworth and Becky Lynch. I would love to see that, because I remember actually a while back Becky Lynch said she would like to rip James Ellsworth's arm out of the socket. So based on what happened, I would love to see Becky Lynch fight James Ellsworth in a special intergender match at Battleground. Will it happen? Maybe. But you have the makings for it based on what's happened with Becky and James Ellsworth in the past. But we'll see where things go from there. After that, we had a nice little Fashion File segment. It was called Fashion Vice, so it was play on Miami Vice, and basically, Breezango, Fashion Police got a videotape from the guys that allegedly trashed their office, and they said, "Meet us out in the ring. We'll reveal ourselves." So pretty much that was saying Breezango was going to have a filler match, an impromptu tag match with whoever the culprits were. And I do like at the end they made like 4 Michael Jackson references. That was really cool. So yeah, I'm liking the Fashion Files and the Fashion Vice skits. I'm liking what Breezango's done. And come to think of it, how like a year ago I hated this idea of a team because I thought Tyler Breeze deserved better. But hey, they're doing good things on SmackDown, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So after that, this like lovey-dovey music starts to play, and I see these hearts going down the ramp, and I'm like, who is this? Like, whose music is this? And I'm thinking, okay, could this be the people who attacked Breezango or who ruined Breezango's office and attacked Tyler Breeze? It wasn't, but it was Mike Bennett and Maria Kanellis. And when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, it's Mike Bennett. I'm like, whoa, Mike Bennett is in WWE. Now, the funny thing is, he's not called Mike Bennett. He's called Mike Kanellis. So it's Mike and Maria Kanellis. It's funny. I wish it would have been Mike Bennett. I bet you this is a WWE thing because Maria, of course, is a WWE alumna. So they probably just had Mike change his last name to Kanellis because Maria was in WWE. This is probably something Vince had I mean, it's not the worst thing, but it's like I would have preferred Mike Bennett because that's what I know him as. Maria basically, you know, proclaimed herself as she has like in ROH and TNA, the first lady. It took her a few years to find the right partner, and she found the right partner in Mike Bennett. So it looks like what they do in real life, they're going to do here on SmackDown Live. It's going to be interesting to see who Mike Bennett feuds with. Like, yes, I called it Mike Bennett because I like Mike Bennett more than Mike Kanellis. It's not the worst name, but, I mean, I know him as Mike Bennett from TNA. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. They're probably going to try and build him as the new Miz and Maurice on SmackDown Live, which is not a bad thing. I mean, Miz and Maurice are great on Raw, and, of course, they were awesome on SmackDown. But it's going to be interesting to see what Mike and Maria do. I'm happy I didn't even know they were coming to WWE. So that's what made that a real surprise to me, a real shocker. Because I didn't read anywhere on the dirt sheets that Mike and Maria had signed with WWE or were looking to sign with WWE. So that's cool. We'll see what happens with them. But I'm excited that SmackDown got a talent like Mike Bennett. I don't think I'm really going to call him Mike Kanellis because I don't know. I just don't like the name. So for now, I'm going to call him Mike Bennett. But I'm happy they got him, and hopefully they'll do big things with him. Because I do think SmackDown needs a little more talent based on the fact that in the Superstar Shakeup, they lost a lot of the big names they built. Alexa Bliss, Bray Wyatt, Dean Ambrose, The Miz and Maurice. And, you know, the Lex Man brought this up in his predictions video. I know this is like the third time I mentioned the Lex Man, but he's one of my favorite YouTubers. He keeps it real. And I'm going to say what AJ Styles said. SmackDown makes superstars, Raw takes superstars. And that's exactly what they did in the Superstar Shakeup. They took all the big names that SmackDown built and established, and they took them. And they gave SmackDown like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Charlotte, Tamina, which are not bad picks, don't get me wrong. Singata, Jinder Mahal, and the Colognes. So SmackDown's in a rebuilding process, but they are doing good things with Owens and Zayn, and they've done what they've done with Jinder. But it's like AJ says, SmackDown makes superstars, Raw takes superstars. And I agree. Because had SmackDown not lost Alexa Bliss, Miz and Maurice, Bray Wyatt, they'd still have that star power. You know, I feel like they'd still have the edge. But SmackDown is still a better product, I think, just because I can't stand Raw, you know. But anyway, like I said, I'm happy Mike Bennett and Maria Kanellis are on SmackDown Live, and hopefully they do big things. Next, we had the WWE Championship match. Jinder Mahal defending against Randy Orton. For the match, Greg Hamilton, introduced St. Louis legends who were in the crowd, including Greg Gagne, Sergeant Slaughter, Cowboy Bob Orton Jr., of course, Ric Flair. Ric Flair, of course, is from St. Louis, but I mean, Ric Flair is one of the all-time greats. You know, he's the Nature Boy, so of course you got to give him his props. So Jinder and Orton round 2, I felt was a much better match than their Backlash match. I felt like it got more time. Was it Jinder's best performance? No. Did he look good? Yes, but not by much. I do like how, Jinder focused on Orton's left leg early on in the match because what happened was he threw Orton to the outside. Orton tweaked his leg, and then Jinder went to work on it. He did a leg breaker onto the English announce table, and then later on he did the same move onto the barricade. And then I love how Jinder was just like, he was poking fun at the legends throughout this match. So like at one point he got Orton in the figure 4, and as he was doing it, he pointed to Ric Flair. He went for a superplex also later on in the match. He pointed to Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. But then Orton fought back. He hit his own superplex. He hit a vintage DDT. He then hit an RKO on Jinder, but the Singh brothers put Jinder's foot on the rope. And the referee looked at it like, wait a minute, you guys put his foot on the rope. And this was smart, and this was priceless what the Singh brothers tried to do. So basically, they were trying to encourage the referee to disqualify him because it looked like the referee was going to disqualify him. And if they did that, Jinder would retain the championship because Orton has to win it via pinfall or submission. Orton is pleading with the referee, don't disqualify him, don't disqualify him. So the referee decides to eject the Singh brothers from the match. As the Singh brothers are leaving, the legends are saying, get out, you're gone. The Singh brothers are talking trash to the legends. Then they stop and they go toward Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. They start talking trash and they grab him. They are about to attack him. and then Orton goes batshit crazy on these guys. He pretty much kills them the same way that he did at Backlash, including that same move where he nearly flipped and killed one Singh brother with that backdrop on the announce table. And then he hit them both with RKOs. He hit one on the floor, and then he positioned one on an announce table. He got on the English announce table, and he just jumped off it and hit a nasty-looking RKO through the table. But in the end, Orton fell victim to the Colossus again. When he got back inside the ring, Jinder kicked him in his injured leg, hit him with the Colossus. 1, 2, 3. Jinder Mahal retains the WWE Championship. So for the second time, for the second straight pay-per-view, Jinder Mahal has beaten Randy Orton. Be it the Singh brothers paid their not paid their dues. They made their presence fall, put it that way. But Jinder got the job done. So Zach Brown said on his review that the rumor is that Orton's going to get one final shot at Mahal at Battleground, and it's going to be a Punjabi prison match. I personally don't want to see it because I've never recalled a Punjabi prison match that was ever that good. You know, like I know what it would do storyline-wise because it would keep the Singh brothers out of the match because the Singh brothers have gotten involved twice and they've cost Orton the championship. But honestly, I don't want to see it. I feel like Jinder Mahal should move on to another challenger because you guys know on July 4th, a certain somebody is coming back to SmackDown Live. And that certain somebody is going to be challenging Jinder Mahal for the WWE Championship.
And his name is John Cena.
You know John Cena is going to get his shot at Jinder Mahal. But honestly, like, I think they should just do Jinder and Cena at Battleground. The rumor is it's going to be Jinder and Cena at SummerSlam, which, you know, that's a bigger stage for Jinder, of course. But I just don't want to see a Punjabi prison match between Orton and Mahal. You know, I don't think it's going to be good because I don't recall a single Punjabi prison match they've done that has been good or even great. So the way I'm seeing it, Orton should just move on. Jinder should have maybe a Sami Zayn as his next challenger at Battleground, or I don't know, because unfortunately, like, you're not gonna do AJ Styles versus Jinder Mahal and have Jinder beat AJ. It ain't gonna happen that way. You're not gonna do Jinder versus Nakamura because they will easily give Nakamura the title. So I don't want Orton. I don't want Mahal Orton 3 at Battleground. Do something different. Maybe do a 6-man where Orton gets a couple of like friends of his own. Like he could choose, I don't know, Zayn and somebody else to fight Mahal and the Singh brothers, and you can have the championship on the line. I don't know. Do something different, but not a Punjabi prison match between him and Orton. That's all I'm gonna say, because I just don't really want to see it. Next, we had that impromptu match I was talking to you guys about. It was Breezango versus the Ascension. So the Ascension were ultimately revealed as the guys that assaulted Tyler Breeze and trashed the Fashion Police office. Breezango got the win. That's all I have to say. This was pointless, and the time this match got, I feel like, should have gone to the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. It was a solid tag team match, but, I mean, what else is there to say? The time it got should have gone to the Women's Money in the Bank match. Breezango won. Nothing special. And lastly, guys, we go to our main event, which was the Money in the Bank ladder match. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus Dolph Ziggler versus Baron Corbin versus Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. Great match, guys. Awesome Money in the Bank ladder match. Awesome Money in the Bank ladder match. Great spots throughout it. Just an exciting main event. Great way to close the show. And the match got off to a very, very interesting start because as Nakamura was coming out, is making his entrance, Baron Corbin attacked him from behind. He assaulted him with a ladder and a TV camera, and he pretty much laid out Nakamura. And that was clever because, one, that further established Baron Corbin as a monster, as a great heel, as that bully. And two, he took out the wild card practically in this match because Nakamura was the wild card in this match. You know, there were people who thought he could win Money in the Bank and just be, you know, it's his first ladder. To my knowledge, it's his first ladder match. I've never seen if he did a ladder match in New Japan or an ROH. But yeah, you know, he's a little unpredictable because, you know, he's a wild card. You don't know what Nakamura's going to do. So for the time, so with that, I said it became a 5-man Money in the Bank ladder match. And like I said, there were some great spots throughout it. It was your typical Money in the Bank match, but I loved it. The star power in it was great. You had Kevin Owens trying to go for a top rope splash onto the outside onto a few of the guys, but Zayn stopped him and threw him onto a ladder that Owens practically bent in half, or not bent in half, but he practically bent and broke with his body weight, so that ladder couldn't be used. Dolph Ziggler and AJ Styles tried to climb up the ladder. Baron Corbin tried to stop them both. Ziggler actually climbed on top of Corbin to try to get to the top of the ladder. Corbin threw him off. Ziggler hit him with a nice zigzag off the ladder. You then had Zayn, AJ, and Ziggler all fighting on top of the ladder. So I literally, at one point, you had Zayn on one side, Ziggler on the other side, and onto the side it was AJ. AJ got knocked off. Zayn then hit Ziggler with this sick, and I mean, it was sick, sunset flip powerbomb. There was just something about it that felt awesome. It was just like, it felt really different. I don't know if that makes sense, but Ziggler, yeah, it wasn't like Sami. I don't know how to explain it, but it looked like Sami hit it from pretty high above. So that was a pretty sick move. Owens and Zayn continued their fight, and I love the interaction these guys have with each other. I mean, they've said it before. They're destined to fight forever, and I love how SmackDown's been keeping their feud going, even though they haven't had a singles match yet, which I'm happy, because I want them to have a singles match when it matters, like on a big-time pay-per-view. Because, like, think about it. Last year at Battleground, they had that awesome match, you know, one of the best matches of the year, no doubt. And I love how their feud has continued. Yes, on Raw, they fought so many times. I hated it, but I love that their feud keeps going. It's a feud that can go on for years and years, because it dates back to their time in PWG and ROH and NXT, so I love it. So great to see them interact again. Owens took this nasty-looking reverse exploder on that ring apron, and I have to give it to Kevin Owens because he's taken some pretty nasty bumps from Sami Zayn. The reverse exploder onto the ladder at WrestleMania 32, the Michinoku driver onto the ladder at last year's Money in the Bank. So kudos to Kevin Owens for taking these bumps from Sami Zayn. I mean, kudos to him. But I love how it keeps their feud going and everything. And I really hope that they get a big-time match at SummerSlam or Hell in a Cell. I think that'd be awesome. After that, Zayn started to climb the ladder, and I love this. As he was climbing the ladder, he looks to the left, and he makes this shocked face like, oh, shit, because AJ Styles comes off with a phenomenal forearm, knocks him off the ladder. It was great. Like, you have to go back and just watch the face that Sami Zayn made. It was kind of like one of those cartoony faces, but it was great. He went for like a mini phenomenal forearm off the apron onto Baron Corbin, him being AJ, of course. But Corbin caught him and chokeslammed him onto this ladder that was like bridged. So it was like set up between the apron and the announce table. So that was a pretty sick move. Then Owens tried to powerbomb AJ through that same ladder that he took the chokeslam on, but AJ countered with, he was basically trying to go for the Yoshi Goroshi, but he did it in the form of an attitude adjustment onto the ladder, so that was pretty sick. Excuse me. After that, AJ went to grab the ladder. He climbed the ladder. He went to grab the briefcase, but Ziggler pulled it from underneath him. And AJ tried to actually unhook the ladder while he was hanging from the apparatus, but he couldn't, and he fell face first, like splat onto the ladder. So that was bad. And then Corbin got rid of Ziggler. He was about to climb the ladder, and then Nakamura's music hit, and that crowd popped when Nakamura's music hit. Like I said, the St. Louis crowd was red hot last night. So kudos to them for just being a great crowd. I mean, from, you know, New Day coming out to Ellsworth grabbing the briefcase to Randy Orton making his hometown return and everything. Like, yeah. The St. Louis crowd last night was a very passionate crowd. So, again, kudos to them. So, Nakamura came out, and then shit just flipped from there. He was a one-man army. He was laying out Corbin with kicks, including that flying drop kick from the top. He was delivering Kinshasas to Ziggler, Zayn, and Owens. And then as he was grabbing the ladder, This is the moment that was my favorite of the match. This is where I just was like, yes, because this was so freaking epic. Nakamura and AJ are on opposite sides of the ladder, grabbing the ladder, looking at each other like, yeah, you want to go? You want to go? They move this ladder to the side, and then they go at it. And that's exactly what I wanted. They traded blows. It was great because this is teasing eventually their epic showdown at hopefully WrestleMania 34. But this was great. They were there. They duked it out. You know, AJ hit his strikes. Nakamura hit his strikes. He turned everything around with a reverse exploder. He went for a Kinshasa, but AJ jumped up and hit him with a mini phenomenal forearm. It was great. I just really love the exchanges between AJ and Nakamura in this match. And then in the end, they duked it out on top of the ladder. And I predicted this was going to happen when I saw them on the ladder. I'm like, okay, I know what's going to happen next. Baron Corbin came in, knocked him off the ladder. Baron Corbin climbed to the top of the ladder, retrieved the briefcase. Baron Corbin is the new Mr. Money in the Bank, as it was rumored, as a few of us predicted, and I'm happy for Baron Corbin. Well deserved. You know, I feel like this is perfect for him, especially since he didn't get the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 33. But now you've got Mr. Money in the Bank, an unpredictable Mr. Money in the Bank, as JBL said. Now I just really want them to build Baron Corbin as a strong Mr. Money in the Bank. Because his history has shown previous Money in the Bank title briefcase holders have lost more matches than they've won, but they still end up successfully cashing in the briefcase. So I hope with Baron Corbin, they build him up as a strong Mr. Money in the Bank, a dominant Mr. Money in the Bank. I think he's going to feud with Nakamura at Battleground based on what happened at Money in the Bank, which, let's be real, he's not beating Nakamura. What may happen is Nakamura may win by DQ because Baron Corbin may just snap and assault Nakamura, beat the hell out of him. But Baron Corbin really needs to win more matches now than lose because he's Money in the Bank and you want to build him as a credible Mr. Money in the Bank. So I'm happy he won. I'm sure SmackDown's going to do what's right with him because they have strong faith in him. Excuse me. And yeah, I mean, Baron Corbin, he left his mark in the Money in the Bank match with the things he did. And now it's just a matter of time to see how they build him and when eventually he cashes in the Money in the Bank briefcase. So, great Money in the Bank ladder match. My favorite moment was the AJ Nakamura moments when they just went at it. Great match overall. 4 stars. Perfect main event. Nice way, great way ultimately to end what was a good, solid show. I enjoyed watching it. Like I said, I thought it was better than Backlash. Not by much, but it was still a more enjoyable show than Backlash. Overall, I'm going to give Money in the Bank 2017 a 7 out of 10. I wouldn't go back and watch this show, but I would go back and watch the Money in the Bank ladder match. Just awesome match. Excuse me. And the exchange between AJ and Nakamura was just awesome. That was the biggest highlight of the match for me. I loved it. Had a big old grin on my face. And the match itself was great, like I said. So what I like is that we do have some programs we can work on coming out of this match. Baron Corbin and Nakamura. AJ Styles and Kevin Owens. I still want to see them have a match at Battleground because AJ's still entitled to a fair one-on-one rematch with Kevin Owens after Kevin Owens cheated his way out of their last match at Backlash. So I hope we get to see AJ and Owens clash again for the United States Championship at Battleground. With Sami Zayn, you could do things with him and Dolph Ziggler. You could do him and Corbin one more time. So I do like how there are different scenarios with these guys that you could do going in the Battleground and SummerSlam. But like I said, great match. Loved the Money in the Bank match. And I'm excited to see where all these guys go from here, especially on SmackDown Live. So like I said, guys, I'm giving it 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching and listening. This has been my Money in the Bank 2017 review. Leave your comments down below. What did you think of last night's show? What are you looking forward to as we are building toward the road to SummerSlam? And what are your thoughts on the whole Carmella Miss Money in the Bank controversy? And what do you think Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon are going to say about it? So thanks for watching and listening, guys. So everyone Kenobi signing off. Everybody have a good day. Everybody have a good night. And I will catch you all later. Thank you for watching the video.